Hello. I am just starting this up, and once again, I have not sent the social media out, so we're doing that. And then I'm actually going to get going on this, and we shall see what happens. As usual, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea what happened last week, so I'm gonna be diving right back in and trying to figure it out, as I have no memory of this place, as the man says. But I'm sure things happened. I just can't seem to recall what they were. We'll see how this goes. All right. I have had a very sort of it was a nice little holiday. It was very quiet. And did a bit of streaming with some folks, and that was it. I opened up the various trees. I opened up the trees. I opened up the various little Kickstarter packages that I'd forgotten what they are, that I'd put under the tree every year, and they all turned out to be gaming related. There's a shock. So we're just kind of trying to settle into a routine of some kind, so we can figure out, the whole life thing. That's always helpful, right? Trying to do the writing and then see how doing this fits in, and all of those things. And you don't need to hear about this right now so much, but it's just a thing that I'm trying to work out, and I've not quite figured out how everything's going to work yet. But we shall see. Let us continue. I have no idea where we left off, but I'm sure I will find it interesting. I keep meaning to go back and watch some part of the previous video before I do this, but no time. Ah! Yes, there's a stichus over there. That's right, we were trying to figure that out, and it's right over there, man. And apparently we can talk to the stichus. And just sort of figure it out. So let me check the map. I think we had most of it. It was just, this bit that I wanted to fill in, and are those eggs down there? Are those stichus eggs? Is that what's happening? Is that really what's happening? As we come around and try to figure these things out. Okay. I think I'm beginning to see a bigger picture here, but we'll see. Alright. I already have the game saved. I haven't done anything yet, so I'm going. Guess we're gonna have a chat with the stichus. Could be a terrible idea because we're so low down on stats, but yeah, we'll have a chat. See what happens. Partially hidden in the trash of the dump is a strange and frightened creature. It is covered in chitin like an insect, but its shell looks thin and soft, and its small and malformed claws seem half-grown. It stares at you from its hiding place and chitters incomprehensibly. This is a child? Is that what they're trying to tell us? Or is this more of a thing where, I mean, it looks like it might be more of a situation where there's some sort of bioengineering going on, or lack thereof. It exudes a sense of sentience as it watches you, but you sense nothing in its mind, as though it were a common animal. Are you the rogue stichus everyone's looking for? As you speak, you gesture in the direction of the square where you met Lord Vunkin, and the stichus seems to understand. It shrinks back, raising its deformed claws as if to defend itself. It doesn't seem like it would be much of a threat to anyone. It puffs a minuscule amount of vapor from this This is a word I do not know. Spiracles on its head? I mean, the idea to me is that that's things that spiracle. I know. I'm sorry, but this is exciting because I need to find out what that is. Spiracle. Spherical, apparently, according to the voice that you probably just heard. An external respiratory opening, especially each of a number of pores on the body of an insect, or each of a pair of vestigial gill slits behind the eye of a cartilaginous fish. So it's how it's breathing. Okay. Interesting. And so, yeah, puffs vapor from the... Okay. All right, cool. What are you? The creature makes... Yeah, don't you love it when people ask you that question? What are you? The creature makes vague motions with its claws and emits a series of clicks and wet guttural noises. Oddly, you smell dust and lightning. Some of the sounds are reminiscent of a human with digestive trouble, but you're fairly certain it's some form of language. How did you get here? It weaves its head and clicks its claws, then pauses as if waiting for a response. The odor of ozone and stale air surrounds you. When you make no reply in its language, it shakes its head vigorously and says nothing more. Where are you from? A series of gurgling sounds emerges from deep inside its belly, punctuated by a concussive grunt, followed by a scent of sparks struck from rocks and metal. It isn't clear whether the stichus understood you or not. It's weird because there are a number of different ways it could be communicating, and I'm not sure which of them is the language. It could be the sounds, it could be the scents, it could be the vibrations. I don't know. Ah, here we go. Something about the creature's behavior is familiar, and you realize that you, or at least the changing god, have spoken to the beasts before, not skillfully, but well enough to be understood, and now we're going to try to remember its language. Oh boy. We could attack it. No, don't attack it. So... Oh, man. Okay, we're going to have to refuel after this. Success! Excellent. XP! A murky memory comes to you, a small box resting between you and a patient stichus, your muscles jerking and twitching as the device translates your words and thoughts. So there's a translation device. Your muscles twitch in sympathy with these memories, and you realize the stichus tongue is a jumble of scent, movement, and sounds. It's all three. Okay. With the memory, information pours into your mind as if a plug had been removed. The smell of granite fills your nose. As the vision fades, you realize the creature's language is yours. Excellent. What's the stichus doing up here? Its clicks and scents resolve themselves into words in your head. Tunnel, live, below. But bad claw, not dig, not eat. No home, stika family. And the scent it uses is one of desolation and abandonment, a great void within the earth. Send above ground to die. Oh, great. Wonder if that's a ritual they have. It's like if you're not good at digging. You were sent up here by the other Stiko? Addendum added, hidden enemy. It holds up its malformed claws. Not good. It presses its shell, which bends like leather. Soft like grub, not strong. Soft like grub. No, not strong. Not dig. Not eat. No worth. Trash. Rubble. Not even Nell tunnel. Yeah, that's not nice. Stick a dig for food. What do you eat? Makes a digging motion, dragging his claw against the ground. Then with his other, fans his... It's interesting it switched from it to him in this sentence. Then with his other, fans his stubby talons like someone miming a bright flash. Dig make sparks, eat sparks, not dig, not make spark, not eat hunger. So they eat, is that, when you make a spark off a rock, that's not electricity exactly, that's, I mean, I guess, you know, if you do enough of it, but, trying to remember what that's called. I can't, because I have no memory. If you can't make sparks to eat, why haven't you starved to death up here? It points down the alley. There's an alley? Baby brown grub feed. It shows you a heap of small electrical devices, all drained of energy. It is well, so it wants electricity one way or the other. Spark shells, spark tubes. It points to itself and smells of flint and steel. Eat. Its scent is gratitude. Okay. Yeah. Is the burrowing of the sticker responsible for making the houses collapse here? It nods and chitters. Stika no care, grub homes break. No dig, Stika die. It taps its chest. Not dig, no claws, no grub home break. What are you doing in this garbage dump? I can't talk. Yellow shell grub steel, leave here. It emits a fierce scent of rotten air and underwater floods. Not speak, dangerous. Yellow shell grub steel. Well, he's referred to grubs as like the little electrical devices. I'm wondering if there was a digging implement that grabbed it up. I mean, all this stuff got cleared aside. Is there stuff there? Can I dig there? Okay. Not speak, dangerous. Interesting. Or a man with a yellow shell on the viewing cliff's edge. Are you the stichus everyone's looking for? Are you the stichus everyone's looking for? Sign up now. It waves its deformed claw in affirmation. The scent of mud, sadness wafts from it. Mud and sadness. Attack him. No. A man with a yellow shell.
I'll remember that.
Did you mean yellow skin? Its odor becomes strong, hard rock mixed with veins of ancient metals. Intense affirmation. Okay. Not gonna attack it. Safe return. That is not how we do things. Hey, look, eggs. Proportionally speaking, the creature that laid these eggs must be truly formidable. Yes. And we can loot, so we should probably do that while we're thinking about this.
Yes. Now.
Yay, shins! We enjoy shins. Shins are good. So, I'm gonna figure out what to do about this because they want the stichus brought in. We shall ask our council and see if they have anything to say. No. As well as can be expected. Let's continue on. Let's talk to you. Riss, what are your strengths? What are you doing here? People we're traveling with, what do you want? How are you holding up? It's supposed to be part, nothing for now. How are you holding up? I guess that's all we've got. Fine, lad. I just hope you won't regret our friendship when the time comes to part way. Okay, nothing for now. Let's continue on. Rin, how's Rin doing? How are you holding up? Before I met you, I asked Al if I could bring someone to help me. I know it's embarrassing, but he's not the sort of god for that. But then you came! And you're even better than anything a god would bring me. Okay. She watches you patiently. Let's continue. Okay. So, you know, we gotta figure this out, because we don't want to fight the stichus. We know where it is. We could tell them, but I would feel bad. I would feel bad about doing that. If we find a way to extend this bridge, that would be handy, maybe, at some point, just for the sake of exploration. Yellow people. Was that dude yellow? I assume they're talking about... They're not talking about what we would, in present-day Earth, think of as a skin tone, but a... See, I think Lord Bunkin...
All says that your tattoos are...
I really don't care what your imaginary friend
Yeah.
Right.
I think Lord
Sorry.
Bunkin is responsible for the stichus being here in the first place, which makes sense. Well, to an extent, it actually, I mean, it's like we need a monster. Is that why he did it? So, or help it find a way to escape, which is really more what I'm thinking. You found the stichus behind the fifth eye amidst heaps of garbage. Its fate now in my hands. The stichus seems to be harmless. Its chitin is thin and soft, and its claws are small and malformed. According to the stichus, Lord Vunkin found it in a tunnel. Yeah, well, we're just making that connection. Found it in a tunnel and brought it to Cliff's Edge. This suggests that Vunkin himself is responsible for the creature's presence in the district. Mother Tamaz told me that Lord Vunkin's family has abhuman blood. According to her, one of his ancestors was a Yovok. This is a shameful secret that would ruin the family's reputation and end Vunkin's political career if it was ever revealed. So we could blackmail him. I mean, I think he's using it, best guess, right? He's using it as a way to get everybody on his side, unite against a common enemy. That was a lot of the rhetoric he was spewing. To try to do that. So, yeah, I think that's what's going on here. He doesn't have a... Yeah, he doesn't have a thing here. Let's get back to where we were. Alright. So, a lot of things to consider. You go ahead and save. Stichus. If we want to blackmail him, we're probably going to need Tiber back up at up health here. Either that or we need to replace him with another Jack. Scrawny boy reaches out to you as you pass. Sir, please, sir. I know you saw the Stichus hiding in the midden. Please don't tell anyone about him, sir. He's not doing anyone any harm. Ah, there we go. That's who they were talking about. You saw his hands. They're like human hands. He can't dig like the others. It's not him that's bringing down the houses. What is this Stichus to you? We found him, sir, my sisters and I. And he was so pitiful, near to starving, near to dying. We've been feeding him old devices and power cells ever since. But we've got to get him out of there. The neighbors will find him soon, and that'll be the end of him. Yeah, he's just sort of standing right there out in the open. His family every bit as much as Nim and Avina. You feed him power cells? Sticky eat electrical energy, and we can't find nearly enough. He's starving. Do you have a plan to help him escape? No, sir, we can't just walk him down the street, or that fat little lord will see him. Not to mention the neighbors. And they'd kill him for sure. Alright, I won't tell anyone. Yeah. I won't tell anyone your secret's safe with me. My legacy shifted. Oh dear. I mean, come on, right? Not gonna turn him in. I guess I could have, but... Yeah, yes, turn him in. You're a lifesaver, sir. Now, if only we could get him to safety. Maybe I can find a way to get him out of here. Could you, sir? That'd be wonderful. If you can find the other Stika, maybe they'd help him escape. I'd heard that some of them were down in the underbelly, but I've never seen them myself. Alright, I'll try. Thank you. I had a feeling I could trust you. Good fortune to you, sir. Okay. You just have a character shift? I need to check on that to see if my character shifted somewhat. Character sheet. Dominant tides are blue and gold. They're competing now. Empathy, compassion, and sacrifice. Interesting. Okay, we're gonna continue around this machine.
Let's do it. Or is it the other way?
6 of one, half dozen.
I'm ready.
I forget what they sell. Remarvagroons. My scowling friend there doesn't trust strangers much. Come on up and chat anytime. I love meeting locals. We'll be seeing a lot of each other. Okay. What is that and where does it lead? Intoxicated woman. Threads, shreds, tendons bending. That's not good. If I don't stop, I don't hear the singing, the screaming choir. Wounds in the air, scabbing but never healing. Yes, that would be a problem. Where does that lead, I wonder? The Fifth Eye Tavern. Ah, okay. Alright. Do we want to overwrite? Yeah, sure. What do we have now in the way of shins? We will check. We have 174 shins, which is good. I'm going to sell these boots soon. I can feel it happening soon. Yeah. I need to get on with some of these quests. Shall we go into the tavern? Yes, bring a kid into the tavern. That won't be a problem. Not in that day and age. I mean, of course, if we were in Europe, this would not be a problem. I keep getting worried about these very low scores that we have here. And I have to wonder if we should just go ahead and solve the thing with Tiber so we can get him away. And not worry so much about it. I really feel we're low on intellect right now. Speaking of which, yeah, intellect right now, it's we're at 3 out of 10. We need 7 points back. Spray flesh I could use to heal that. It's like, no, just get one further down. I don't think, it's the weird thing is I don't know if I can distribute spray flesh over more than one stat. Alright, let's go in. Let's use one more intellect point somewhere. If an enemy is armored, change up the damage type of your attacks with abilities or ciphers to overcome it. Whoa. And actually, there's the thing I was looking at, wasn't I? Yeah. Onslaught, adaptation. Huh. Don't I have an ability that allows me to...
Forward. Onward.
Yeah, sure. Hang on, I want to check something. Maybe I thought I did. Do I not have an ability to boost something, or am I... Do I not have a weird sort of healing ability thing, or have I just completely forgotten about that? I guess not. I'm a little curious as to why everyone in here is fuzzy. I do not know if that means something. This may go for a while. Yeah, I know. Okay. Go a little. Yeah, we're gonna just go do stuff for a little bit in here, and then maybe we'll see what else is happening. Clarion. This young woman wears finely polished armor and paces back and forth restlessly on the walkway. Her long hair is lustrous and healthy, and her whole form exudes a wholesome vitality. When she sees you, she raises her voice in greeting. Welcome, friend, to the Fifth Eye. She strides closer to speak more softly. You come at an exciting time. I've been trying to convince some veteran warriors of their eminent suitability to join the endless battle. So far they've rebuffed me, but perhaps you can succeed where I have failed. Really? You want me to do this? Why? Tell me about yourself. I am Clarion. I seek strong warriors, brave souls, to fight in the endless battle to hold back the advance of the enemy. What can you tell me about the endless battle? People, I mean, the way they've been talking about it, I keep imagining that some of these people are wearing buttons that say, "Ask me about the endless battle." Much as it sounds, she says, it stemmed from a rift between the changing god and one of his offspring. Okay. And has endured for hundreds of years, raging over the same battlefields using the deadliest technology of the ancients. The landscape is scarred and pitted beyond recognition. The walls between dimensions are thin there. Every day, horrors cross into our world. Yay. She stands, arms akimbo. Worse, in recent years, the struggle has expanded. Nearby settlements, founded to provide material support for the combatants, or existing there long before the two sides came to rage on their borders, have been engulfed by the spreading chaos. She frowns. It is not too late to change the course of the battle. If only warriors of proven mettle would join the fight. That is why I am here. That is why I beg for your help. So, just to be clear, she thinks, a glorious conflict. So many have grown stronger in its wake. Great, yeah. So just to be clear, she's trying to... This endless battle has people out in the field somewhere where things come in from other dimensions, and they're constantly there fighting them back. That's... That sounds like a long and thankless job. Oh, jeez. What else do you know about the endless battle? It's not truly endless, of course, but it has raged for hundreds of years. Imagine the wonders you see around you, the discarded pieces of the ancients' lives. Now imagine all their power bent toward destruction. Imagine what that would do to the land. It is a force, a disaster that creates heroes. Lung demons are getting at me today. What side are you recruiting for? The changing gods. He has always been the patron of Sagus Cliffs. Perhaps we would not exist if not for his lives and his Castoffs. Certainly, we would not be as we are. She pauses. But that is not the only reason. The changing gods' forces have allied with the towns and villages of the Verhulian Waste. We seek to prevent the endless battle from expanding beyond its borders, growing in size once again. Alright. The enemy has attempted to sweep across the plain before. Verhulian? Who knows? Verhulian, perhaps, is what she was actually saying. They tricked the Changing Gods' allies centuries ago, destroyed an army of sand knights, and took half the settlements in the waste. We won't let them do it again. Alright. Who's the enemy? The armies of the first Castoff. They have never been friends to the people of Sagus Cliffs. She frowns. The first Castoff is long dead, but her forces hold a grudge against her sire and his patron city. Right. If I help you, will I get a reward? Can you tell me anything about these veterans you hope to recruit? They have fought in countless battles and emerged victorious. They have made decisive forays that turned entire wars. They are clever and thoughtful, though I know only their reputation. The third inversion, for instance, saw them reach into a new dimension, and I won't bore you with the details, but they were integral in an offensive that would have changed the course of that conflict. But that would have changed the course of that conflict. Why didn't it? They're clever and thoughtful, though I know only their reputation. Third inversion saw them reach into a new dimension, and won't bore them. They were integral in an offensive that would have changed the course of that conflict. So they failed, and you want to give them a second chance? Is that kind of what we're looking at here? I don't know. That would have changed the course. That's pecking at me here. I don't know. Can you tell me any more about these veterans? Why? Perhaps they're tired. That's a valid question. She frowns. They've kept their abilities largely secret from me. I have not seen them in action, but the stories tell of 5 companions who turned the course of wars. Okay. Why are you trying to recruit them? Perhaps they're tired of it. She shakes her head. Conflict shapes us all. It sharpens us, makes us stronger than we ever thought we could be. If you hide from it, you'll never know what you might have become. Or worse, you'll be easy prey for those who are stronger or crueler than you. She clutches your shoulders. These veterans have grown tired and complacent. I want to help them recapture what they lost. No, I want to make them even greater than they were. Even if they become prey, it will make whomever hunts them very strong. Can you tell me any more about these veterans? No? Let's talk about the merits of conflict again. What is there to talk about? Challenge, response, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Overcoming weakness is the only way we grow strong. Rawr! Do your muscles grow through disuse? Does your mind sharpen while staring at a wall? Life itself is conflict. Without conflict, there is only stasis, or worse, decay. Her eyes are bright with confidence. See, okay, look. This is one of those things where it's like, okay, yes, conflict definitely changes people. Doesn't always change them in positive ways. And yeah, I mean, it's very kind of what I think people think of as Darwinist, what she's sort of expressing here. Survival of the fittest, what have you. But at the same time, seeking conflict doesn't. Well, I guess it's like anything. An extreme of anything is going to be a problem. It seems as though seeking conflict the way that she is, looking for these veterans who have already had a decent share of conflict, that I know sometimes you get caught up serving the idea of a thing rather than doing what's best for the people involved, and so there's a question of whether that's going to be worth it. Now, I mean, in this case, she's talking about trying to get people to defend against these creatures that are coming out, and that's important, obviously. But at At the same time, it seems as though the reason why she's wanting that to happen is not so much to end that state of affairs, but to keep it going. And that's really sort of what's bugging me here. If I help you, will I get a reward? You see, I don't think that, yeah, the way that I'm thinking about this character, I don't think he would help without getting something in return for this. Although it's very selfish. It's very selfish to ask a question like that. I feel like if I ask that question, one of the tides is going to change on me. But, you know, whatever. Of course, I'm not a wealthy woman, but I have allies in the city who are. The more veterans you convince to join the battle, the more you will be paid. I'm not going to promise to do it. I will, however, look to see if that has gone into the journal as a thing or not. Okay, doesn't look like it. Alright. I mean, yeah, I stopped short of saying I would do it. Maybe that is the thing. Oh? Izg? Okay. Thiboris. Ziobe. Dharma of the Bloom. Sir Arthur. Sir Arthur? Sir Arthur has written a number of guides to things. I think he's basically... I believe that is the figure that I think there's a book or something in the Numenera lore that is like Sir Arthur's guide to thing A, B, or C. A lot of NPCs to talk to. A lot of dialogue. Time to drink again. Okay. I mean, I don't know that I want to commit to helping to recruit these people, but in the interest of time, I'm going to save the game here and agree to do it. Because, I mean, it's important to get people to defend from these things that are happening that this character's forebears were kind of responsible for.
I'll remember that.
There we go. You have my gratitude. And a generous reward if you can succeed in this, friend. She begins to point. At the bar, you see Leto, the woman clad in desert robes. Behind the bar, Feriak. At the table, there's Ziobe. Leto, Feriak, Ziobe. She lowers her voice again. With Ziobe, you see Thiboris. He is older, but he has great experience. She indicates the final target with their chin. And then the crowning piece, Dharma. He's their leader. Alright. Well, that tells us things. Now, one could just go straight for the leader. Depends what kind of thing it is. It's like, are these people who say, well, no, let me see what the leader says, or are these the sort of, or is it the sort of leader who says, no, wait, let me see what my people say? Ideally, you have both going on, but, you know, we shall have to see how this goes. Let's start at the top and work our way down. The wispy mustache on this pudgy middle-aged man would be almost comical if it weren't for his deep and despairing eyes. They are the eyes of a man who has passed through the gates of alien hells and returned, though not necessarily whole. His fingers tightly wrapped around some fine glassware are strong and slim a musician's fingers, or a strangler's. You can't read his thoughts at all. You might as well try to read the thoughts of a wall. Before you open your mouth to speak, he says, "What is that place in your head?" What is that place in your head? Ah, interesting. Yeah, okay. It's a labyrinth. A labyrinth! He raises an eyebrow and leans back in his seat. That's a novel construction. He starts ticking items off his fingers. I've seen people construct psychic fortresses, cathedrals, graveyards, hellscapes, and vortices from which no life escapes. All dramatic places, all powerful and forbidding, but a labyrinth? Well, that's a whole different construction. That speaks to cunning and guile. Do you mind if I take a quick look? Seems like a strange thing to carry and not know anything about. His voice is polished and clean, friendly but intent. It's funny because I know things about this guy, and yeah, I mean, you know, if you can get in there and figure out, I'd rather you didn't. If you can get in there and figure out where the freaking sorrow is hiding out so we can extract it, that would be nice. If, on the other hand, the sorrow attacks him while he's in there, that might be a problem. I mean, this could be dangerous. How responsible do we want to be? I do mind. I'd rather you didn't. Go ahead. Go ahead. My thanks, though it's not often the wisest choice to let strangers enter your mind. I'll not do you any harm. Might help, even. He smiles to take the sting out of his words. Ready? He breathes in, and suddenly you feel you are a mote tucked inside a gigantic prism with eyes peering in at you from all around. You are held tightly in an enormous fist. You are a flimsy piece of glass held up to the light. Yet somehow it is not utterly terrifying. His words come to you as if from a distance. A shared space, such depth, such twists. It builds itself around your experiences, around those who share it with you. Shared spaces are occasionally dangerous, so I sharpened a part of your mind. His voice grows closer as the pressure eases. I didn't probe deeply, but this would be an excellent battleground. If you lured a foe to you, you could trap it within your mind. You could destroy it. Oh, introductions, yes. Last Castoff permanently gained 1 intellect pool. Yay! Maximum intellect pool is now 11. I can use the healing stuff now, and the math will work out. He sets the glass down and shakes your hand. I'm Dharma of the Bloom. He pinches the bridge of his nose, his eyes tightly shut, and you feel a gentle and powerful presence surround your consciousness. I have a request for you. It might seem strange, but you have an interesting topography to your mind. You might be able to help us. The Fifth Eye is home to psychic veterans. We fought an incursion of nightmares, I suppose. Nightmares slithering into the city's shared dream space, eating minds and leaving husks behind. Sounds familiar once again. We called them the adversaries. We burned them out and cauterized the wounds through which they infected our reality, but I can't shake the nagging feeling that one of them survived and waits to strike. I trust my intuition, and now it's telling me to ask for your help. I think this is the sorrow, so I would be happy to help.
Making a note.
He breathes a sigh of relief. My thanks. I feel the adversary. I know it's here. I know it's close. It's watching us, but it's hiding its presence, and I fear it will strike when our guard is down. It may well be in the Fifth Eye even now. It's Sir Arthur over there hiding. He shrugs helplessly. Sadly, our Fifth Eye is blind. He jerks a thumb at the bartender. It might be that our foe has blinded us, but it might not have shielded itself from you. Look for it, and tell me if you find something unusual. Yeah, so about that. I mean, we're starting with, Sure, why not? A lead on the identity. I'm grateful for your help, friend. Tell me your suspicions. I'll see if I can confirm or relay them for you. Well, no, I was going to say it was the sorrow, but could it be Clarion? Never mind. Let's talk about something else. Tell me about yourself. I told you they call me of the Bloom. I was born there. Yeah, that's right. The Bloom, the place where, yeah, they get people and stuff and things from other places. I think, right? You go in, generally don't come out, but maybe sometimes. I was born there and I knew nothing of the world outside. For the longest time, I thought it was normal to play in passages made of gut and tissue, to hide from slavers in diverticula, to watch visitants staggering in from other worlds. I learned how to read people there, how to understand them. And one day I left the Bloom and came to Sagus Cliffs, and I discovered the world was a different place than I thought. A better place. Different from what I'd thought. That's when I learned to fight. That's why I learned to fight. He gestures at himself. This isn't a warrior's body, of course, not in the usual sense. He smiles, and a great pressure swells in your head and vanishes before you can even register alarm. But I'm not unusual. No one in the Fifth Eye is. We're psychics, psionics, seers. Call us mind-benders or thought-rippers, but we're warriors. We keep the minds of Sagus Cliff safe from threats they don't even imagine. The old man growls, Theoboros. They'd go crazy if they did. Not that they're exactly paragons of sanity at the best of times. Clarion seems to hold you in high regard. She thinks you'd be a valuable ally in the... Why do we think it's Clarion?
I'll remember that.
I've got more pressing matters close to home. The adversary, remember? I'm not going anywhere until we've dealt with that nightmare. What is this place? This is the Fifth Eye. You might think of it as a retirement home or a veterans hospital. But it wasn't always this way. Look around you. He gestures at the pipes and the disused machinery. There's a reason we're here. Ask your questions. I know the math isn't going to hold out. I got 1 point of 10. Oh, never mind. All right. Sorry, looking at things. What did you mean when you said it was a veterans hospital? So in Ultima, you just say the last word that the person said, and they start talking all about it. Sorry, flashback to the 80s. I was thinking of Ultima 4 specifically. Veterans? He raps on the nearby wall. It's a solid ground, no vibration. We don't know what this place was, though the pipes and machinery make it seem like a kind of pumping station. But what it is to us is, and then his mind whispers in yours, sanctuary. There is no sanctuary. Okay. A crawling sensation like insects under your scalp. This is what the outside world is. So much Dune energy here. You see an image of the city beneath you, writhing with ribbons of light that flare in a million colors. Each of those ribbons is a thought, word, deed, and each calls out for attention. His companions nod. He continues, speaking. When we're here, we can dampen that noise. The voices become voluntary. We can still listen, but it's not insistent. Whatever else this building is, shielded, safe for our kind. Tell me about the history of the Fifth Eye. The psychically sensitive have been hiding here for generations. The endless battle, the cobalt breach, the rising blood. All the great psionic conflicts have victors and the defeated, but more importantly, they have the wounded, the veterans, the scars of 1,000 mental battles. The scars of 1,000 mental battles slip away here. We can let our guards down. He drinks. And so we do. It's a long history. I should write it down sometime, but he shrugs. I'm feeling lazy. Let me ask about something else. No, I want to have something founded before I bring that to them. I'd like to know more about the Fifth Eye. We already talked about the Fifth Eye. Can you tell me about the adversaries? A good question. Better if I show you. Brain bleed here. He closes his eyes and you feel an insistent nudge in your mind. Then your vision goes black, replaced with a nightmare. Yay! You see a void oblivion, a place where black stars hang and shriek with formless rage. Violet lightning arcs through the sky. Violet lightning arcs through the sky, and you witness enormous masses of pustulant orbs raging against each other. Streams of conscious thought rocket from them, and they scream of need, desire, hatred. So many things. Too many things. Too many things. Way too many things. Okay. Yeah, back to this. Other emotions arise with these wisps of mental energy that curl like steam. They brush your consciousness with a touch, beslimed with the unknowable hungers of an alien mind. Beslimed with the unknowable hungers of an alien mind. Wow, we're in a couple times. You know, sometimes we get almost into Gibson territory here. These luminous wisps quest through invisible cracks in dimensional walls. New worlds, unsuspecting minds, brilliant lights enfolded in the adversary's decaying orbits, imprisoned stars winking out forever. They came through the bloom, shining and tenebrous at the same time, he whispers. They offered games, riches, promises for the future. I felt their passage and was afraid, and I hid my mind from their questing touch. I felt them reach for me, and I cowered in my shell. Ziobe lays a hand on Dharma's shoulder. Those who didn't hide saw the lure, and they were drawn into that unwinnable mental game. Attracted by the light of the adversary's minds, they followed their own dreams into madness. Psychics and normal people alike, the ruin of the city's minds was. She shakes her head. You were wise enough to see beyond the lure and into the danger. You couldn't stand against them yourself, and so you hid. We all did. Yeah. Not all, Theberos growls. Some stood. They played the game and got cracked like glow globes. I felt them die, and their spirits got sucked into a vortex of endless fear. You did the right thing, Dharma. I've told you that before. Dhamma. It's not Dharma, it's Dhamma. Apologies. I can't tell the difference between an M without an R in front of it and an M with an R in front of it. It's Dhamma. Okay. Dhamma of the bloom, he says. Fine, fine, he replies, waving the words away. But you've seen what the adversaries are like now. Inhuman with no negotiation. Maybe they're communicating with us and we don't understand them. But I tell you, this is their hello. I don't want anything else to do with them. If this is their hello, I don't want anything else to do with them. So those of us who survived that initial incursion gathered here. We set aside our differences and we fought back, but not without our own losses. I'm wondering if the way that this has been described, I mean, it could be. It could be related to the sorrow, but at the same time, I don't know. Let's see. What are the adversaries? I don't know. What we see isn't the whole picture. We know that. It's an extrusion into our world, just a piece of the creature's psychic material. Maybe it's a conscious unit on its own. Maybe it's self-directed. But my deepest fear is that every adversary we've seen is the smallest piece of a singular entity, and that our pushback is drawing its attention ever so slowly toward us. Toward us. Physically toward us. Okay. Well, you know, directionally. He shivers. If you ever meet one, you'll know why that frightens me so. It could all be part of one thing. Who knows? Dhamma of the bloom. How do you fight the adversaries? No, are you thinking you might use your labyrinth to trap it? Don't. Don't do it. He steeples his fingers under his chin and considers. Though, wait. It might work. It might. He looks at Theberos and Ziobe. They exchange a wordless communication, and he shrugs. We used a spotter, someone trained to recognize their scent. He'd give them the briefest engagement, enough to whet their appetites, and he'd bring them to a battlefield of our choosing. The adversary will tempt you with something. It will tap into the parts of your mind you had forgotten, ignite a desire. It will offer bargains, tastes of power, and try to draw you toward its way of thinking. The key is to keep control of the imagery and the metaphors your minds conjure together. Ah, okay. Now I think it could be this person that set us to talk to this person in the first place. That's starting to make more sense now. That's where I come in, Theberos says. He leans forward on the table, his gaunt face seeming even more drawn. I'd feed words and stories to our spotter, help him build an internal story that seemed to mirror what the adversary told, and I'd lay a pathway toward our battlefield. He'd walk down that pathway, and the adversary would be extruding itself into our world right alongside him. His smile is hard and feral, and then we'd close off the exits and get to work cutting it to pieces. So, tell a story, resist the adversary's metaphors, build in the details of your hardened mental space, draw it in, and then use your familiarity with the place to destroy the bastard. He swallows the rest of his drink. If you're going to try, and again, I can't emphasize enough that you should seek our help, but if you do it alone... Gods, I can't believe I'm saying this. If you do it alone, be careful. How can I convince you to join her? Can you tell me about the people here? Dama of the Bloom smiles, a little wistful. Sure, but keep in mind most of them can hear us. Who did you want to gossip about? The others burst out laughing. He gestures around the bar. They've all got their stories. Some of them aren't from this world. Some aren't even real. He summons another peal of laughter. He points his chin around the room. Why do people gesture so much with their chins? It's like... They must have very strong neck muscles. There's Theberos, Ziobe, and Leto. Oh, and Feriak. We own the place together. We've fought in all manner of war. They own this place, okay. Fought in all manner of wars, battles, and conflicts. We've traveled for some, worn Esper helmets for others, or projected ourselves across the world. But the worst was the adversaries. They were the true test for all of us. They forged our They forged our friendship tighter than any other experience could have. I need new lungs. Anyone have new lungs out there they can spare for a little while? Best part is we've sacrificed our lives, our friends, and our sanity for a city that'll never know. They keep on with their daily lives and just assume the rash of madness is some effect of the Numenera. Gave up the best part of our minds, and they don't even care. Doesn't matter to me what the rabble think, but it'd be nice to at least get some professional recognition. We've been over this, Theberos. We don't do it for ourselves. We do it because it's the right thing. He's right. Why save the city if you don't care? Or let them continue. This is a tide moment, probably. Shall we increase our gold tide here? Yeah, why does it matter if they know or not? That's red tide. Sure, saving the lives of people who flinch when they see me coming. I love seeing mothers snatch their children from my path. Clearing the insects from my bedroll is the next important step in knowing that I took action, because the ingrates in Sagas Cliffs won't even sell me a damn clean sheet. If they were dead, at least I could steal their sheets. Not bitter at all. Who do you think the adversaries would go after once all the citizens were dead, friend? You think they'd head out into the world, leaving your mind glowing bright behind them? I could shield myself, no problem. I did it when they came out, remember? Just like you. Well, we got XP out of it. Yes, I did, but I found help, and we hunted those bastards down and wiped most of them out. You? If you were alone here, you'd get tired of having to hide your true self around them and start cursing at them just so they'd notice you. He turns and holds his hands up. You see what I have to put up with? Ask for a modicum of respect, and instead I get mockery. I don't know why we pay attention to this old gallows glass. Hey. Some inner ear stuff going on. Okay. More things to read. What did you mean when you said some of the others here aren't even real? What did you mean when you said some of the others here aren't even real? Dama's smile disappears. Talk to Ziobi. Okay, let's talk about Theberos. Theberos, despite his terrible complexion, gaunt face, bird-like nose, and questionable taste in haberdashery... Actually, I'm trying to think of any redeeming qualities that might offset all of this. I'm right here, you know. He ignores his friend. Ah, yes, despite all these obvious disadvantages, Theberos has become one of the preeminent warriors of language in the entire world. You can laugh, but the old saying is undeniably true. The tongue with the word is deadlier than the hand with the sword. Unless the sword hand gets to you before you can make someone else get in the way, he mutters. Dama laughs. He can plant words in your mind that will activate and weaponize your body against itself. With a word, he can spin illusions inside your skull. He knows the hidden receptors and compartments of the mind, and he can whisper-lock you dead. That a fair enough assessment, eh? That a fair enough assessment, eh? His friend nods. Let's talk about Ziobi. Let's not. Nonsense! Ziobi is our enforcer, our telekinetic. She summons visions for us to distract our foes, projects deadly energy, and harnesses the power of the physical world to anchor us, or our enemies, while we deliver the killing blow. She also lets us focus our energy through her. She is what you might call our heavy weaponry. I almost said heavenly weaponry. Celestial weaponry! Because she makes the immaterial world much more tangible. While we frolic in the playgrounds of the mind, she is concerned with more earthly matters. Gruff voices bring out the phlegm. Gruff voices bring out the phlegm. How poetic, you old scholark. Truly, you took the words straight from my... Why, you dirty thief! Dama holds his hands up in surrender. You were practically shouting, Ziobi. How could I help but listen? Let's talk about Feriak. He doesn't look toward the bar, but his mood turns somber. A true empath, our spotter back when he could do the work. A brave man, aware of the risks he took. Psychically sensitive, able to catch the lure of the adversaries, and willing to run with it. If it hadn't been for him, we'd never have had the success we did. He looks down at the table. The last one we fought caught him. It took his... He pauses, lost in thought. Ziobi steps in. It took some of the things that make him special. He can't spot for us anymore. His powers aren't what they were. He's a shadow of his old self. But the old skist sucker has our thanks anyway. He raises his glass toward the bartender and drops it on the table as Ziobi punches his arm. Ow, that's bad luck, you know. Don't you speak an ill word about him, Theberos. Not after what he did. You know how I feel about Feriak Ziobe. He swishes the liquid left in his glass, his head and voice lowered. Before he lost his powers, he was one of the best of our team, one of the best I've ever known. They all nod. He cackles. But don't tell him I said so. Ziobe punches him again. Oh, that was Theberos talking before. Was it? The old skiss sucker has our thanks anyway. Okay. Nah, voices. They won't escape my head. Let's talk about Leto. How did he escape from Dune? No. She's our seer, our prescient. She knew where the advisors were going to be. She knew when they'd be there, so we could set ourselves up in time. Set ourselves up in time. Somewhere along the time stream. So we could set ourselves up in time. His voice is somber. But they grew wise to her. They threw themselves through probability space, played the game of maybe with her, and they were better than she was. I'd like to say I'm grasping everything that's being said here, but it's going by so quickly. Not so loud, he murmurs. It wasn't her fault. I never said it was. Dama radiates tension. The adversaries got better than all of us. We're lucky they only... He wipes a tear from his eye. We're lucky we only took the losses we did. How did you all come to this place? Dama frowns. It called to us. It was a beacon. It was warm and welcoming. It's a trap! It was the first time I set foot inside these doors. The noise from the outside world lessened. It didn't disappear. I can focus and hear it as I wish, but I could let down my guard. Relax. He looks around the room. I'd wager the same is true of all the others. Okay, something else. Is there anything else we need to... No, we're good. That's all for now. Oh, that was a lot. Clearly I'm not at full energy today. This is wearing on me a bit. Okay. I'm gonna save. Hang on, let me take this off while I do this. Okay. I'm going to play for a little while without hearing the sound. Just because I'm feeling a little lightheaded today. I'm going to try to... Okay. I'm going to talk to Ziobe a bit. Can't get there. So, this woman's face seems timeless, neither old nor young. Unblemished, but somehow not perfect. Her dark and wavy hair floats like a cloud to her shoulders. When she speaks, her voice is musical, almost artificial. I'm Ziobe, and you are? She concentrates, fingers pressed to her temples. When her table mates start smiling, she pulls them away. I'm not actually a mind reader like these two, just a joker. Can you answer my question seriously? So you're not going to guess who I am? Silvertide. I don't know who you are, but I can tell you where you're from. Oh boy. Tell me, are you from the area? A small hamlet, slightly isolated, but still within the broader Sagas Protectorate? Somewhere near Arvrin Wood, perhaps. I was born in a falling star. Don't say that out loud. Close enough. I suppose I'll take a close enough. You're particularly hard to place. Your voice, your inflections, your mannerisms, they speak of someone whose upbringing was based on an older version of the Sagas Cliffs dialect. That suggests an isolated aldea or enclave of some sort. Although she claimed not to be a mind reader, Ziobe's mind is impenetrable. She might as well be one of the bartender's pumps. Can you tell me more about yourself? I am Ziobe. I hail from the western reaches of the cloak of the clock of... Reading is fundamental. Tired today. I hail from the western reaches of the clock of Kala, near Malthunis. Malthunis. I can't read the words today. This is terrible. Okay. Let's try that again. I hail from the western reaches of the clock of Kala, near Malthunis. She bows her head modestly. I have had the opportunity to serve with my fellows here in a number of disturbances. Though if you wish to hear more about those conflicts, you must speak with Dama. I am their support, their backup, and if need be, their physical offense. What's going on with this place? It's the Fifth Eye. It's where the psychics and psionics of Sega's Cliffs have been coming for generations to protect ourselves from the noise of the city. Life is easier when you're among friendly people, those of your own kind. She laughs. Though not everyone here is technically one of us. Some of the people you see here are manifestations of our minds. Some of them were called here by our minds. Some have come from other dimensions, even. She leans back, tapping a finger on her lips. I have a challenge for you. One of the 5 of us who own this bar is a projection. Talk to the other veterans of the Psychic Wars and see if you can figure out which of us is the projection. You can ask each of us only once, so make your questioning count. Are you the Psychic project? He said ask her, but no, let's not use that up. What can you tell me about the adversaries? Because we need to know about that. I don't know where they came from or what they want, or any of that. Her voice is becoming harsher, more distorted with suppressed anger. I only know that they destroy everything they touch, and that I will destroy them. My friends pull their extrusions into the real world, and then I get to sever them from their source. She downs her drink. I love doing that. Anything else about the adversaries? Sorry, I'm the heavy hitter. My friends point me at the problem, and I take care of it. Alright. Are you the psychic? No, I'm not going to ask that. Looking for warriors to join the endless battle. Clarion would be honored to call you an ally.
Making a note.
I am through with war. Finished. I want nothing more to do with conflict. I have served my time. My colleagues might help you, but I refuse. Don't ask again. Okay. Farewell. May the wind carrier. Let us look at the journal again for a moment. So, a call to war. A woman named Clarion has asked me to help convince some veteran warriors to join the endless battle. So far, our efforts to sway them have failed. We're trying to recruit 5 veteran warriors named Dama, Theboros, Leto, Feriak, and Ziobe. She wants me convince... Typo! She wants me to convince as many of them as I can to join the endless battle. Dama won't consider leaving the Fifth Eye until the last adversary has been defeated. Ziobe has made it clear that she is tired of war and refuses to fight in the endless battle. Okay, so that's more of that. Eyes of the adversary. Dama thinks that the adversary is somewhere close, watching him and his friends. That means it's somewhere in the Fifth Eye, but it must be concealing itself from him. If I encounter anything suspicious, I should tell Dama at once. Okay. There we go. Shall I put this back on again? Who knows? Oh. Let me just check to make sure everything's okay. Someone just sent me a message about a couple of dates on them that appear to be in the past, so I just need to double check that. I'll do that momentarily. Not yet. But it's interesting. Okay. Because I need to double check the things that I set up. I'm pretty sure I set them up okay, but we'll go. Theberos. Let's talk to Theberos. This man's mind is sealed off from you like trying to read the thoughts of a book that's been glued shut. The man is old and strong, his face lined with years of brutal experience. His face is aquiline, his nose sharp. He wears a broad-brimmed hat, and his voice is a low rasp. I'm Theberos, he says. Tell me your story. Make it a good one. I was born falling from the sky, and now I'm trying to repair a chamber that will stop a nightmare. Let's not say that. I'm trying to awaken the constructs in the Reef of Fallen Worlds, and I need mercenaries to help me take over Sega's Cliffs. That would be funny. I've been tasked with recruiting a gang of psychic war veterans to help turn the tide in the endless battle. None of your business. I mean, man, you know, that's the thing. It's an opening. It's like, make it a good one. Oh, man. I mean, that's the best story on this list. But I don't know if being that trusting is a good idea. Been tasked with recruiting a gang of psychic war veterans to help turn the tide in the endless battle. People are looking for that star, and that's not a good story. Recruiting a gang of psychic war veterans to help turn the tide of endless battle. I feel like, yeah, here's the thing. I feel like there is a connection here between the adversaries and the sorrow. I don't know if that's, if really it is, but this seems to be the only way to make that connection happen. Or, let's give it a shot. He watches you intently as you speak, and when you finish, he nods sharply. You're telling the truth, he says. A lot of people embellish or they lie outright, try to pretend they're more than they are so people will remember them as giants. More often than not, they just end up looking ridiculous. He pats you on the shoulder. You've given me a rare treat, thanks. So, what do you want? Can't help you with your chamber, but maybe there's something else. What can you tell me about the adversaries? We'll start there. Theberos' eyes narrow and he leans in close. I don't want to talk them up. It's important to understand they are not unbeatable, that they are not immortal. They're tough, hells yes, but they can be stopped. He leans back. That said, what are they? You've heard of spirits, beings of pure thought. That's what they are, except that they're more like living hate. Like every nightmare of fear that you can't escape. A vortex of despair. And that's why we fight, because they're poison. And can you tell me about yourself? I'm the brains of this operation. He gestures with a lazy hand around the table. Without me, they'd lose the thread of their thoughts and spend all their time wandering in dreams. We're just trying to get away from your nagging. Dama tips his friend a wink. It's that nagging that sharpens my word, Dama. Though I admit that my words are probably getting duller every second I spend talking to you. He turns back to you. That was good. Let's call me a warrior of language. Words are my weapons and my treasures. They might be pretty sounds to you, but to me, they're the tools that pry open your imagination and leave you vulnerable to my friends here. I build pictures, set the scenes, and create mazes in your mind. He takes a careful sip of his drink. I'd like to see, is there a thing with duration on it? No? Who knows? Okay. Interesting. Okay. I'm also the last person in the world to know the lost words of Kra. Okay. He closes his eyes tightly, and when he opens them again, you see worms of light dancing in his eyes. They're gone again with his next blink. They're a weaponized meme. A thought that sticks in your head, a tune you can't get rid of, a saying that echoes in your mind, until it drives you mad and melts your brain. Ziobi lays a hand on his arm. You don't have to talk about this, Theberos. She turns to you. It's eating away at him. He has it compartmentalized, but he says that he can feel it burning away at his mind. I feel the power in you. Can you help him? Possibly? What can you tell me about the words of Kra? Theberos' long face grows more somber, if that's possible. Those words were the ruin of an ancient civilization. I had this story from a dying Nevagine. Nevagine? Before I wrested the last words from its mind. Goes like this. The scholar... that is a very serious moment. The scholarks of that age had found deep truths about the world, and they stumbled across these words. They wrote the knowledge down and sealed the words away with the strongest warnings they could find. And then they killed themselves so that they wouldn't infect their kind. The problem was they didn't count on their writings sticking through the ages. Some skist-brained fool ignored the warnings of the bindings, read the words, and spilled them out into the civilization that had grown up in that spot over the millennia. 8 rulers of Kra, 8 words, and a continent-spanning empire fell, its people bleeding from their eyes with hatred in their hearts. Survivors tried the scholar who'd released the words, buried him in stone. The words were lost again. Okay. A Nevagine, a hero, found the imprisoned scholar. It tried to wipe away the knowledge he'd spoken and removed him from the world. Had the Nevagine stuck there, it would have seen the dust itself rewriting the words of Kra on the floor in the wind. He bows his head, but it was too late. The words had infested his mind. I found the words. I burned them from the world, trapped them in a maze in my mind, and they're near the exit. Oh, great. What are you going to do about the weaponized meme that's burning your mind? Just out of curiosity. Well, I could always kill myself. Honestly, I don't think anyone else could carry it, and the alternatives are too horrific to bear. Give them to me. Theberos tilts his glass toward them. I love my colleagues here, but can they handle the words of Kra? I don't think so. Right now I've got them locked into a mental construct no one has even the slightest idea how to build. So, about that. Yeah. Do we really want... Do we really want that? Do we? The thing is, I mean, we're already talking about deliberately letting an adversary in there. We've already got the sorrow in there. Do we really want to take that on? Right now? I mean, we could. I don't know if we want to do that yet. I don't have a solution right now, but I do have more questions. Figures, what do you want to know? What can you tell me about this place? Ask Dama, ask Leto, ask Ziobi or Feriak, I just drink here. Yeah. Tell me any stories about the others in this bar? I can, but I won't. Talk to them yourself. They all have a piece of wisdom that they carry in themselves, and I won't dishonor them by telling their stories for them. He scratches under the brim of his hat. I can eulogize them, but every story would start like, here's a warrior, selfless and self-absorbed, knowing about themselves so they can help the world. But they're all more than that. See if you can get them from a different perspective than me. Okay, farewell for now. And you, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, we've got a labyrinth. I worry that that's gonna cause some issues. Yeah, we're still at the same place here. There is a lot happening here. An odd lilting song occasionally rises within this machine, as if a musician is trapped inside. As if a musician is trapped inside, yes. This booth was once a metal tank that held some sort of liquid. That's Izg. Don't know who that is. Ghostly woman. Almost the Soul Keeper. Feriak runs the bar. Leto. They're drinking at the bar, or standing at the bar. She is. What's that? Can't tell.
Are you sure you wouldn't like to be dropped off with someone more?
You can hear liquid coursing through these ancient pipes.
You wouldn't let anything bad happen to me, Alagern. I trust you.
This whole building seems to predate the Ninth World.
That's what I'm worried about.
Alright, let's talk to Sir Arthur. Heh. This man has leathered dark brown skin and hair as white as the full moon. He peers at you from beneath long strips of eyebrows, sucking on a long pipe that has been made from either segmented wood or the leg of an enormous insect. His clothing is blue and formal, like a priest or professor of some kind. All over him, on his belt, in every pocket, on both shoulders, even hovering in the air around his head, are glowing, chittering devices of all kinds. Let me guess. He sucks from his pipe. A ball of green steam floats away from his mouth. You're a traveler. You're a traveler. That much is clear. An explorer, yet you have the look of a farmer visiting a teeming metropolis for the first time. He taps various relics on his person. Never seen the like, have you? Fortunately for you, I adore educating folks on the subject of the Numenera. I've also traveled extensively and seen much of the world. Go ahead. Ask me whatever you would like to know. A metallic bug-like creature perched on the side of his head begins glowing. It crawls into his ear, and he pauses as though listening. After a moment, the bug scuttles out and resumes its perch. He leans forward and lowers his voice. So you're a mind reader, eh? Well, I won't hold it against you, but old Arthur wouldn't walk into a bar of psychics without mental protection, so don't expect to read much from me. How did you know I could read your thoughts? Nerman told me. He points at the bug now burying itself in his shock of white hair. He can detect that sort of thing, and then this one blocks it. He pulls a circular device from his pocket. I don't like letting people know what I'm thinking. Too dangerous. He puts the device back into his vest. That's the new disc, of course. My first psychic blocker used to melt brain matter. Provoked people to no end, especially those who didn't know their friends were psychic. Who are you? Goodness forgive me. He stretches out his hand. Sir Arthur Torrain. Torrain. Traveler, explorer, and lifelong student of the Numenera. I've seen everything between here and the Steadfast, and I have studied Numenera of all kinds for decades. There is no man more knowledgeable about the Ninth World than he who sits before you, I assure you. Who are you again? No. Why are you here? Knowledge, of course. I've traveled all over the Steadfast and the beyond, but I want to know what was beyond the beyond. Who knows how much time I have left on this world? I wanted to see for myself. Why are you here in this tavern? Libations! He lifts his glass enthusiastically. I'm trying to determine the nature of these fantastic liquids. Also, the people here are quite informative, and no better place to learn about a city than its taverns. He takes a deep swig from his glass. What are the Numenera? His eyes light up, as too do a number of devices on his person, though you cannot see why. The Numenera are practically everything around you. We live among the detritus of uncountable civilizations, many of which were more powerful than you or even I can imagine. Everything they left us is the Numenera: weapons, power sources, medicine, gels, plants, animals, and why even the drit in the ground and shins in your pocket are examples of Numenera. It's such a broad term that the Order of Truth has categorized the Numenera with terms like oddities, ciphers, and artifacts. Of course, any true student of the Numenera considers these categories too broad still. I have my own distinctions, but that is neither here nor there. He takes a puff from his pipe. In any case, it is the Numenera that power the wonders of the world, from an explorer's esoteries to the datasphere to the drinks in this very tavern. All right. Numenera 101 happening here. What's the difference between oddities, ciphers, and artifacts? He takes a long puff on his pipe before answering. For the most part, he says, those terms refer to how useful a device is. It makes sense. As wonderful and powerful as the relics of the past are, nobody in this world gives a damn unless it can fix their problems. He sighs. They don't care how it works or where it came from, eh? But if they can use it to feed themselves, fight off an errant grask, or at least get them a few extra shins, now they're interested. Sir Arthur shows you the back of his fist and sticks out a thumb. Oddities are the least useful. They do something all right, but and heat your drink, float in the air, make everything you say sound like music, whatever. But it's rarely something anyone can get any utility out of. Oddities are fascinating, but pragmatically they're only worth a few shins. He sticks his pointer finger in the air next to his thumb. Ciphers now! Those might do anything. Heal your body, shoot a blast of flame, teleport you to somewhere safe, and so on. But they're volatile. Whatever they do, they'll do it just once. And if you don't know what you're doing, putting too many together can give you what's called cipher sickness. He puts up a third finger. Artifacts won't do that. That term belongs to devices that last. Maybe not forever, but more than a one-shot. More than a one-shot. A one-shot use of a device or a one-shot adventure. We don't know which. This character, Sir Arthur, was created by Monty Cook, and so I'm kind of imagining certain things. Kind of imagining him saying some of these things, although that's not entirely the way I'm going with it, but sort of. What's cipher sickness? Let's ask that. Terrible, just terrible. He sets his pipe down. Ciphers are volatile devices, as I told you. If you know what you're doing, you can separate, insulate, quarantine, thus carrying more ciphers than your average explorer without ill effects. Something on his person starts chirping. He taps his pocket to stop it, but otherwise pays it no mind. But if you carry more than you can handle, those ciphers react in unpredictable ways, draining your energy, wearing you down, or worse. He leans forward conspiratorially. This one time, I saw a cluster of ciphers bond to each other and gain what I can only describe as sentience. Ripped my assistant to pieces before tearing off into the cold desert. Haven't seen it since. He picks up his pipe and sticks it back in his mouth. It was completely unexpected. I felt bad about that assistant, but, well, science and all that. He shrugs. Fortunately, most effects of cipher sickness are temporary, easily cured by simply getting rid of some ciphers. How would you categorize the Numenera? Fascinating question. He sets down his drink and leans forward. I'll give you the brief version, because you obviously have places to be. Put simply, I am less interested in how useful a device is than in its means of function. He takes a quick puff from his pipe and sets that down as well. Now, the technology of the prior worlds is far too incomprehensible and varied for us to truly understand which civilizations created what, but we can define some basic categories. He counts each one on his fingers. Many devices deal with fundamental forces: gravity, magnetism, sound, light, even time itself. Automatons and created intelligences fall under artificial life. Biotechnology offers a wide variety of Numenera. Many plants and animals that we consider natural were in fact created by prior worlds for some arcane purpose. The bloom may fall into that category. Someday I'll hire a team to find out if I can find anyone reckless enough. There are chemical devices, as well as those dealing in various forms of matter, metals, liquids, crystals, and conversions between the three. His eyes light up. The most interesting are the most esoteric. Nanotechnology, which covers much of what common folk consider magic, transdimensional tech, and technology related to the datasphere itself. He leans back, reinserting his pipe. These are just classifications I prefer. The Numenera defy definition. All right. What is the datasphere or datasphere, depending on which side of the room you're standing? It's difficult to say exactly. At a most basic level, the datasphere is information stored within the air itself, but it's much, much more than that. Several of the prior worlds created similar spheres of knowledge around or throughout the world. Our term datasphere encompasses all of them, the connections between them, and the effects thereof. For example, he lifts a knobbed finger. People talk about glimmers, visions from another place or time. These are actually some portion of the datasphere, accessing human minds. Some ciphers, or even some nanos, can access arcane knowledge from the datasphere. Why, even so-called telepathy is sometimes two people communicating through the datasphere without realizing it. Yes. The datasphere as a subject of research is far too large for several lifetimes. Alas, I've only been able to spend my time delving into devices that seem to use it, but not the datasphere itself. Or rather, the various and incompatible networks that comprise the datasphere. Perhaps someday. Okay. What are esoteries? Esotery is the common name for any of various powers or abilities that cannot be explained by our understanding of science. Nanos are capable of esoteries more than most, but other people and even creatures sometimes exhibit powers that we would call esoteries as well. Powers that cannot be explained by understanding of science. I'm trying to remember if they also used esoteries in Invisible Sun. It's like maybe can't remember clearly, and I have to read Invisible Sun. I'm perhaps running it sometime soon, so that's a thing I need to look into. But let's get back to Numenera. What are shins exactly? They're those things that hold up your legs. He peers at you over his glasses. You are new, aren't you? Shins are currency. The Aeon priests believe that some very ancient prior worlds use specific metals or crystals as currency per their rarity. But of course, no metal is truly rare anymore. Half the nanos I've met can transmute metal into crystal. Why, I once transmuted flesh into gold, though not entirely on purpose. Anyway, rarity is useless as a means of value, so the value of shins is necessarily a social construct. Shins can be any coin-like object or jagged bit of interesting material, though I think you'll find there's remarkable agreement as to what does and does not constitute a true shin. Many realms in the Steadfast actually mint their own money, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a traveling merchant who didn't accept anything you had on you at the time. We're not sure what shins are, but we know them when we see them. That's I think, the idea. How is Drit part of the Numenera? Let's find out about that. Run your hand through the soil, son, and you'll find it's hardly soil at all. It's filled with the microscopic remains of ancient unknown technologies and structures, commonly known as Drit. Why, in some places, the Drit is even alive. He takes a sip from his mug. I don't recommend sleeping on the ground in those places, by the way. Terribly unnerving for the survivors. Okay. And what's the order of truth? We've been there, and yet we're asking. It's what you might call organized religion, an organized religion, except it's not a religion. Members of the order call themselves priests and their founder the Amber Pope, but they don't worship anything per se, except perhaps their own intellects. I understand this town has its own branch of the order. They can answer your questions better than I. They can answer your questions better than I. Yes, of course. I'd like to ask about something else. Of course, ask away. He leans back and takes another pull from his pipe. Who are you again? Let's see. How do you know so much about the Numenera? So, it's the encyclopedia PC here. Well, it's not really encyclopedia. It's more of a basic. We found the rule book. He's here. He's right here. Cipher gathering was always we found the game manual. Cipher gathering was always the main source of income for my family. Alas, no more. But I have extended that penchant, or a penchant, depending on which side of the room you're standing, into pure research. It is not arrogant to say that mine is one of the greatest laboratories in the Steadfast. Why, an entire university has sprung up around my home. I specialize in research and experimentation. Prospective assistants apply almost daily, which is good considering how quickly we churn through them. He clears his throat. I would like to know more about the world. Of course, ask me anything you'd like. I've traveled all over the Ninth World, throughout the Steadfast and the beyond. I even know a little about this part of the world, the so-called beyond the beyond. I've met explorers of all kinds and listened to countless stories. So, what is it you would like to know? All right, here we go. Yes, we have found the Numenera manual. What can you tell me about the Steadfast? Much, my friend, much. And too much, in fact. The Steadfast is a collection of kingdoms and principalities far west of here, all the way at the end of the continent. He blows smoke from his mouth. It forms into a purple ball and drops to and then through the floor. It is where the Order of Truth holds sway more than anywhere else. There are several different kingdoms, along with scattered villages and aldeas, but they all swear fealty to the Amber Pope and his Eon priests. Sir Arthur utters a small growl. The Order requires nobles of the Steadfast to fight against the Gaians, supposedly a cult to the north. I've never been there myself, so I don't know the truth, but it sounds like a waste of lives and resources if you ask me. That's why I keep my laboratory in the southern reaches, as far from the conflict as possible. He sucks on his pipe thoughtfully. Granted, the Order did ask me to leave after several incidents, but I was planning on moving anyway. Can you tell me about the beyond? A wilderness between the Steadfast and here, highly dangerous. His words seem meant to frighten, but he has an excited glimmer in his eye. Highly dangerous. Some of the most interesting claves and villages can be found there. I found one village whose people hovered a meter off the ground from birth to death. The villagers of another would tell you the exact method of your future death. The exact method of your future death. Death! 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 I can't say how accurate they were, though several of my assistants tendered their resignations. Yeah, that's a thing. I don't want to know when I'm going to die. Further out is the realm of the most deadly creatures, landscapes, and weather. Oh yes, he says, seeing your expression. The land and weather itself will rip you apart in several locations in the beyond. You've heard of the Iron Wind? It is but one of the cruel rulers of that land, though perhaps the most infamous. A cloud of invisible machines, altering the physical structure of anything and anyone it touches. He grins widely as he brings his cup to his lips. Truly terrible. Truly terrible. All right. What can you tell me about the areas beyond the beyond? You're in it, friend. They call it the Sagus Protectorate, or at least this portion of it. There is Sagus Cliffs and the Bloom nearby. I've heard of places like Harif and Mraholios, far to the east. I'm most interested to explore this Valley of Dead Heroes I've heard so much about. A place to inter the dead? Bound to be some very interesting relics in a place like that. He sighs. In truth, I am only a recent arrival to this place myself. You would do better speaking with the locals. Yep. What can you tell me about different kinds of explorers? Sure. Brave and intrepid souls, my friend. Explorers come in all shapes and packages, but I think you will find that most people prefer to label the bravest explorers as glaives, nanos, or jacks. And coming soon, rights, delves, and the other one that I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I know it's in there. Glaives are the elite warriors of the world. Nanos are those who study the Numenera, using it to perform powerful esoteries. He taps a yellowish ash from his pipe. Jack is something of a catch-all term. They're mostly pragmatic folk who know a little fighting and a little Numenera, jacks of all trades, as it were. But explorers of any stripe are useful to have around, especially if you're expecting trouble. Da-da-da-da. Why do they call this the Ninth World? An interesting question. He takes a preparatory swig from his cup. One would think it is because 8 worlds came before us, but even a cursory study of the Numenera reveals far too much breadth and variation for there to have been a mere 8 prior worlds that created it all. That's interesting. One might then ask, what qualifies as a world? We could say the first through the 8th worlds are defined as the most powerful or influential civilizations of their eras, but even that fails under the most basic reasoning. If the previous 8 worlds we refer to were the greatest of the ancients, then what qualifies this world, wherein we cannot even understand the most basic theories governing a time augur, to be the 9th? The truth is, I'm afraid, is that we call this the 9th world simply because that is what we've decided to call it, no more and no less. Yeah, I mean, that's the case with, like, everything, right? I'd like to ask about something else. Is there anything else I can ask about, or are we done? No, we're done. Okay. That's all I wanted to know. Farewell. And safe travels to you, good sir. There we go. That was a lot. Okay. I'm going to save again. Just because there's a lot going on here. I'm going to return to the game. So I've only got a few minutes left, so I'm trying to decide if I want to spend it exploring more with these NPCs, or if I want to talk to my companions here just in case they have opinions on some things that we've come into recently. I don't know that they do. Let me check real quick. No, let's go. Okay. I'm guessing it's going to be the same with the rest of them. Let's keep going.
Of course.
Of course. Okay. This is Leto. Though this woman's face is young, she has been beaten hard by the sun. She wears a tight-fitting skin suit under loose desert robes. Her eyes are a deep and unsettling black with no whites to be seen. Occasional streaks of light race across them, flashing in the shadows of her hood like stars plummeting from the sky. I am Leto, she says. I saw your coming. Now you are here. Does anyone see this cup just picked up by itself and just drifted onto the bar there? Yeah, they're drifting around there. That's interesting. Self-filling cups. Leto's mind is inscrutable. Your thoughts reflect back at you from 1,000 angles like shining a light onto a mirrored ball. Disco is painful. Are you the projection? No. What can you tell me about yourself? What can you tell me about the people? What can you tell me about the adversaries? Let's start with that. To the northeast, in the middle of the Lost Sea, there is a small town called Jerboa. Dwarfed by the magnificence of the oasis of Marjolios, Jerboa is a poor town dependent on the charity of its neighbor. She nods to the bartender and he refills her drink, floating a bottle through the air without touching it. Oh, it's telekinesis. I was born in the slums. The Kibra, residents of the city, would sometimes tour our ghetto. One of them saw my eyes and declared me touched by their god, Nikul. They taught me the deep secrets of their church and showed me how to comprehend the tapestry in my mind. But one day I saw a light flare in Sagus Cliffs. Though this city and mine suffer hostilities, I knew that I must brave those dangers, for I saw the darkening storm. She grips your sleeve. I see the futures. Oh boy. I will not be able to return home, but I arrived in time to aid Dama in his struggle against the adversaries. For a time I was able to read the strands to help our team prepare against the adversaries' attacks, but they learned to cloak themselves against me, and all I could see of their intent was a generalized darkness. I am of little use against the adversaries now, but I remain to help against other foes. Alright. Can you tell me about the people here? What can you tell me about the people here? I know the stories of my comrades in arms, their past and their future. I have a deep bond with Ziobi, a friendship with Theberos. My respect for Dama knows no limit, and I have fond recollections of Feriak's ready wit. Oh. I think Feriak might be the projection. I think they lost Feriak in more ways than they said. We'll see. She shakes her head. I wish I could unravel the skein of perception and live in the present as do many others. But it is not to be, and so I scramble across the web of time and know the threads of my friends. Yeah, I can kind of relate, actually. Hard to focus on the present sometimes. Very hard. There's all these other things buzzing around. Possible futures, possible pasts. Not possible, well, you know. Pasts reinforced by terrible... Okay, alright. No. Enough of that. What can you tell me about the adversaries? Let's talk about that. She spits on the ground. I waste water speaking of them. I do not know what they are, but I know what they represent. They are the death of possibility, an existential threat to humanity. They sweep minds into themselves, consume individuality, and worship power. And they have learned to counter mine. I am helpless against them. How did you know I'd be coming here? Skeins of lives weave together in a tapestry. Your thread glows. It emerges from the sky, and a great darkness follows in your wake. She waves a hand as if pushing through cobwebs. I've seen you. Where you go, that is beyond my... I've seen you. Where you go, that is beyond my powers. Yeah, I know, right? Because the game doesn't know which thing is going to be chosen, does it? It's very open. Can you tell me anything about the people I travel with? Ooh! Ask and I will tell. Tell me about Aligern. She turns her unsettling gaze on the man. Your regrets will destroy you. You carry your pain and your salvation, but you do not look closely enough to recognize the truth. Open yourself, hold your scars tight, and you might emerge whole at the end of your ordeals. He growls. Typical soothsayer platitude. Tell me what I need to know or don't tell me anything. The future's light is not reducible to simple words. Not everything conforms to the science you treasure, priest. I have told you what you need to know. It is up to you to seize its truth, or let it fall to the ground unheeded. Oh, yes. Tell me about Tiber next. For the Gallowglass, I have only one prediction. Change your ways, or live with your regrets forever. Forever? That's a long time, my dear, and I'm told nothing lasts that long. She turns her head toward him and looks away, shivering. I have spoken. Tell me about Rin. I'm a little nervous to ask about Rin. She takes Rin's hands in hers. Child, the future is uncertain. The one you travel with is a decisive force in your life, though it remains to be seen whether this force is for good or ill. Tell me about it. I cannot advise you, for your future is in flux. You must make the choice yourself. Do we have any other questions we wanted to ask? Oh, yeah. I'm looking for warriors to join Clarion in the endless battle. She thinks she'd be a valuable ally. Dama is still here, is he not? I follow his lead. He believes one of our old foes is still present in the city, and if he believes it, I do as well. I will not abandon him, should he need me. Righto. That's all for now. Alright. we are going to talk to the 5th warrior. I don't know if we're going to be able to finish talking to everybody in here before we have to go. Because there's a lot going on. This took a while. I don't know. This is a long conversation. Long set of conversations. These pipes are pumping fluids from somewhere outside the bar. Someone added the spigots later, so the fluids probably weren't intended for drinking. Okay. Now let's come over here. We will talk to... save the game again, because there's a lot happening. We will talk to Feriak. The bartender is a tall, powerfully built man with nut brown skin and a bushy beard. A great big bushy beard! He radiates... Probably not that big. He radiates strength and confidence. He moves with speed when necessary and remains almost motionless the rest of the time, like a predator waiting to leap. Yet when he prepares a drink, he doesn't touch a thing. His brow furrows slightly, and the bottles and glasses lift by themselves. When he sees you, he smiles broadly. Welcome to the 5th Eye, friend. I'm Feriak. Feriak's mind is a careful blank. You can't read anything from him. Dama said you're blind. What does that mean? Clarion needs your help. I think he might be the projection. I'd like a drink. Can you tell me about this place? Let's start with that. The 5th Eye is a bar for psychics, at least it is now. In the prior worlds, near as we can tell, it was an old pumping station. All these pipes lead down to some reservoirs deep beneath the city, and they pump whatever is in the reservoirs up here. Whatever is in the reservoirs up here. He laughs. Anyway, some damn fools started drinking from the pipes, and some other fools started in too. Some of them died, but some got drunk as hell. After a few whiles, vague enough for you, they got pretty good at figuring out which were safe and which weren't, and that's when they figured they'd start making money off the place. Reason psychics flock here is because the building dampens out the psychic noise of the city. He grins. The drink helps too. Yeah. Feriak means to say that he is only involved in the delivery of these drinks rather than their creation. Given his skills, this is only right and proper. He throws a hand across his forehead. I have been maligned by this desert-dwelling interloper. Let's see. Dama said you're blind. What does that mean? He laughs. I used to be the spotter for this gang. Means I could sense the presence of the adversaries. Build an attractive playground for them and draw them after me. The last one I faced, though. His face falls and he draws into himself. It burned me out. It put out my eyes. It burned me out. It put out my... And then he is back to normal, smiling as if nothing had happened. Yeah, I think he's the projection. Either that or... Well, I hope he's the projection, because otherwise... Jeez. You said it's a bar for psychics. What does that mean? It means this is a place where psychics can unwind, get away from the city, get away from the noise. You know what it's like to be psychic? You know what it's like to be psychic? Let me paint a picture. Imagine every time you're going to sleep, someone comes and starts screaming in your ear, or objects in the room start whispering about how they want to burn, or they might tell you their secret names and how to make them float and dance at your command. Or maybe every person you meet is like a house with all its doors and windows thrown open, and you can't help but look in to plunder their secrets. And underneath it all, you hear their silent judgments, the truths they hide even from themselves. He pauses to concentrate on a floating cloth as it wipes a mug clean. Then the mug places itself on a rack. Folks think that it's a blessing to have these powers, and sometimes it really is, especially when you can join your friends to make something great, but he shrugs. It can be hard, hateful, and you can never tell when you're going over the edge of insanity. We could order a drink. Let's not yet. Clarion needs her help. She's looking for warriors to fight in the endless battle. No way. This bar is my life, and I've done my time. I've got no interest in fighting for people I don't know, for a cause I don't believe in. You go right ahead, but count me out. That'll be it for now. Okay. Come back soon. I'm going to save the game. So, I'm going to try this just before... Yeah, this will be like probably the last thing we do here. I want to ask him if he's the projection because I think he is. He laughs. No, why would I come right out and tell you? If Ziobe's playing a game, why should I spoil her fun? Come on, puzzle it out. But let me offer a clue. Know your subjects. I guess that's the kind of thing an empath would say, huh? Kind of thing an empath would say, huh? Interesting. Okay. How much are drinks? You're in for a treat, friend. A real treat. Assuming you call the possibility of a toxic reaction a treat, of course. He points at the various pipes on the wall. We've positively identified some of these as safe. Smaller subset here is inebriants or hallucinogens. We've got a few that are, well, chancy, as in sometimes they kill people. Cost for a safe drink is 3 shins. Experimental ones? Those are 10. I mean, it's atmospheric. I don't want to get... I'm being stingy with my shins right now. I don't want to necessarily do it. But let's talk about the chancy drinks. We've got this strange black ichor, thick enough that it's almost chewy. There's a pink sludge that's known... Entheogen? Entheogen? I am learning words today. I have to know. An entheogen is a class of psychoactive substances that induce any type of spiritual experience aimed at development. The term entheogen is often chosen to contrast recreational use of the same drugs. Nice! Okay. Anyway... That's a known entheogen, but its strength varies, and sometimes kills people. We have one that smells like eltaban fruit, and we sometimes use that one to get rid of stubborn grease stains. It's acidic, but, well, maybe it's an acquired taste. Okay, I think we're done, because I'm not going to order one of those. That would be crazy. Although, I don't know, one of the chancy ones might open the gates and alleys of the mind and give us a bonus of some kind later. I don't know. But... we're going to save. I'm actually going to use a different slot because there's more going on here. And I think that will be it for this session. This went by fast. For me, anyway. I don't know. It's interesting. We're going back to the main menu. All right. Now, let's... go back to me. Hi. Well, thank you very much for watching. This has been very cool. I'm very interested in talking to these folks some more, finding things out. This is mostly, it seems, a game of conversations. And thankfully, I'm completely down with that. I know a lot of folks might play this and be like, where's the fights? And you can probably get into fights quite easily. I mean, there's one early on that you can get into. Go around attacking everything. I might do another playthrough of this sometime later on, where I just, play a glaive and just go around chopping people's heads off. I don't know. But this has been kind of cool. I mean, I'm trying to go at this more as sort of the nano approach to just sort of looking at things, picking at them individually, not necessarily trying to be the most... doing the most persuasion in conversations, although it's good we have a Jack with us to do that. Yeah, it's like, I think, it's funny because I'm trying to just go the pure intellect route here for more than anything else, and that's why so much intellect has been spent, I think, perhaps, on this, that could have something to do with it. But I do think it might be fun later on sometime, and I don't know if I would necessarily stream this or not, but to do like a run through where I just play a glaive chopping people's heads off, and then another run later where I'm playing a Jack just lying to everyone. Because I haven't lied yet much. I think I lied once in an earlier episode. and I've been cagey about where I came from this character, but I think it would be interesting just doing that, and just seeing what happened. Might be interesting if I do the glaive run where I just tell the truth, the absolute truth to everyone, including, yes, I was the falling star, and all of that. That might be interesting. But let's see. Oh, I want to see kind of where this goes. Kind of want to figure out what to do with the Stika, and other things that are going to be happening. Kind of, I want to try to help the Stika escape, but there's a lot going on. I'm also wondering about taking Rin to meet the other kid who's kind of been displaced from an earlier time period. That's clearly to me what's happening with that kid, although I don't know if the Last Castoff has figured that out yet, but we'll see. But this has been a lot of fun. So, what's happening? This weekend, tomorrow morning, 9:30 in the morning, once again, more We Happy Few, which I've been very happy with. I might finally try to figure... I think I died at the end of the last one, so I'm going to try to figure out how to get through the house of the crazy people without dying. May have to wait for nighttime, have to wait for them to go to sleep before I can approach them. We'll see. Though that's when a lot of the crazies are out, so there's the crazies, the infected. So it's hard to say. It's going to be a pile of bodies, probably. I'll have to figure that out. How to do that without creating a pile of bodies, that's really more what I want to do. So we'll see how that goes. As for RPGs, we don't have any more Last Life until the new year. We're still figuring out what the date's going to be for that, and I need to actually ask them again, so we'll figure that out. But this Sunday, we are going to do the last one-shot of the year, which is going to be a thing I call RVR, which is short for Robot Hamlet versus Robot Richard III, or Robot versus Robot. It's kind of a play on RUR. And that is a hack that I wrote of Lady Blackbird a while back, with Shakespearean robots in space. And so I'm very much looking forward to that. I think that's going to be fun. So we're going to play that on Sunday. And on Thursday, we should have the next episode of the Cyphercast. It should be live Thursday evening, where I think we're going to be talking about... so we're going to start talking about different genres using the Cypher system. We're going to talk about the fantasy genre probably on Thursday. And I think that'll be fun. And then, of course, 1 week from today, more of this. And so we'll talk to more people and find out more things, and then hopefully see kind of what's going on. So thank you all very much for watching. It is very much appreciated. And I shall see you all of a sudden. Take care.